This is good news. Chinese CCTV is reporting about NIO's Factory 2, so that's NIO Park. Basically, well, not the owned factory, as you know. NIO is operating a different business model. They're not owning the factory, but they're producing there. And as you can see now by those videos and pictures there, these are the ET5 bodies in the new factory that are being manufactured there. And in this TV program, they are talking about multiple ways how NIO is also innovating in the area of manufacturing. So although NIO doesn't own the factory, still, as you can see, those people are wearing helmets that have the NIO logo on. They are wearing t-shirts that have the NIO logo, and so they're bringing their own teams, their own tools and manufacturing capabilities and skills, and are innovating, really focused and formed towards the models that are bringing to the factory. And here they are, for example, talking about how they're assembling the doors quickly and in a fully automatized way, and in the future will be able to actually produce many different models, and also switching between the different color modes. The ET5 is coming in a range of different colors, both interior and exterior, so there's quite a few variances which they need to be able to build in a quick manner. And so, yeah, these are the aspects what they are talking here about, but the most important part is that this is entering mass production, and that is, of course, important for not this month, I guess, because there will only be very few of these ET5 going to be delivered, but next month this will be hopefully a ramp if everything works out well. And they have hired lots of young workers, they said, so well, that might be somewhat inexperienced, but on the other hand, maybe they can actually also take more workload and be more efficient, more motivated. We'll see. I'm certain Chinese workforce is not an issue in general, but good to know they can give also the locals there a good perspective in terms of what NIO is delivering to the local economy. And now let's speculate a little bit, and well, usually I really don't do that too much, but it kind of fits the topic of this video, and I've already posted that one in my Patreon community. Well, actually it was posted by one of our patrons, I gotta say. So by the way, the link is down here in the description. If you want to become a patron, for the $10 tier, you will actually get access to the Patreon community feature where we have an all members chat, but also where I post daily, and actually also others are posting daily. So here's a member called S Shanghai, and he posted some production plan which is possibly deriving from a third-party manufacturer. So that's not a production plan of NIO specifically, but actually from a third party. And so take this with a very, very, very big pinch of salt. This is not that those numbers are exactly going to happen. There are many variables going into that. This is likely also just a production and not a delivery plan. And as we can see here, so they had actually 16,000 units to be produced for August, and certainly we know that the deliveries were way less than that. So it could have been that they have been getting closer to those production numbers and just couldn't get them delivered. But as I mentioned before, this is a third-party supplier which has this production plan. And so this actually means that they could have just produced some parts that are getting to NIO, but that doesn't need to finally end up in a vehicle being produced. So these numbers can vary significantly there, I would say. And but what you can see here is the plan would be for September 19K, then October 22K, up to close to 30K in November and December, and arriving at 180,000 in total as a plan here for production for the entire year. So I think that's really on the very, very high side. I think we would be super lucky to get there. My personal expectations are way, way lower, and I'm not sure if this document is A, accurate, B, if it's credible, and well, how much behind NIO actually would be in case that this is the real numbers there. But you can see there are some details in there. For example, so this one, the first line here is gourmet, so means the domestic deliveries, and then true call, so that's the ones that are shipping outside. And some interesting points here, like for the ES8, so ramping up to July, in June, exporting close to 500, and then it's going down actually. So I'm wondering if they're starting to phase out the ES8 already and rather ramping the ES7 then for the foreign markets. But still, there are not too large numbers here for the ES7. So I'm not sure if that would actually make any sense. For the ET7 up to 4,000 in this year, I think that's kind of coming closer to what we've seen from the shipments and what we could expect for opening up the market in Germany and the other European markets, and on top Norway, which we already have. That could be possible. So, if you take the domestic plus the export together, it's actually coming close to 190,000 because that's the sum of it. So I would say this production plan, sorry to say, really doesn't look very, very accurate here and super realistic. Maybe that's what they have intended in the beginning of this year, although here 7/22 actually indicates that that might be an update by July. And we don't know. Maybe, because of the casting issues, they had some issues and couldn't produce all of the August numbers here, or maybe some of them have been produced and will only get delivered going forward. However, we also have the issue around the second week of September here, where I got this preliminary vehicle license plate data again, which in the past has been quite accurate and in coming close to the actual deliveries, although license plates are something different than actual sales or deliveries. But what you can see here is that NIO was falling back to only 1,600 cars being delivered in the second week of September, and lower than Li Auto and XPeng again, whereas in the first week NIO was higher than them. And so the question here is whether or not there is actually an issue with delivering those cars, and they might be produced but not getting delivered. And so given these numbers, we should rather be a little bit conservative about the September figures first and see how they can actually ramp up and deliver in the third and then the fourth week of September. By the way, in the second week there has been, of course, the issue with the national holiday in China with the Mid-Autumn Festival. So in a company, or with a company like NIO, where there's 100% focus on the user experience, which is very heavy also with using manpower service for delivering those cars, it might be realistic that during such holidays they have less cars delivered. Whereas, for example, Tesla, they are the only ones beating the trend here in comparison to BYD, Li Auto, XPeng, and NIO, who all had less deliveries in the second week than in the first week. And so Tesla possibly beating the trend here in my point of view, because they're now switching from exports to domestic deliveries. That's always what they do towards the end of the quarter. And so, we have so many variables going in there. It's kind of hard to speculate about stuff like this. On the one hand side, now this really high up a production plan that's pointing to a massive amount of deliveries by the end of the year. But let's stay realistic. We need to be careful looking at such vehicle license plate data first and see whether or not NIO can actually execute on this. So what do you think about it? Let me know down in the comments. And once again, please check my Patreon, where you get extra content like my behind the scene videos and those talks by Brendan Ahern, Grain Shares, and so on that I've been shooting in my time in Milan and London. So thank you guys for watching, and hopefully a good start to the week, and see you in the next one.